Today I'm gonna do my first video in English. Typically my videos on this channel are just in German, but I want to address a common issue on this control unit or SAM unit, you name it, from a smart Mercedes-Benz smart car from approximately the year 2000 to maybe 2008. I don't know, these smart 450, 451. And they have a quite common issue with their control units, and this problem might present itself as follows. You're driving your car as usual, and suddenly you will hear some kind of, I would say, clicking noise. You might locate it coming from the dashboard, and your car suddenly shuts off. The motor shuts off, but your lights remain on if you have turned them on. And the problem with this is you have to come to a full stop in order to start your car again. And this might lead to some tricky situations depending on where your car decides to shut itself off. So today we're going to address this issue with this control unit, with the SAM unit. First of all, we will open it up. You have 3 screws here. Then you can turn it around. In order to take this thing apart, you have to unscrew this one. And when you reinstall this device, you have to be quite careful with this screw, because if you tighten it too much, it will easily rip off, and then you have some other issues connecting the plus to this control unit. So you have to be very, very careful with this one. And the issue we are addressing today is, as I already said, very common among these smart cars, especially when they get, as time goes by, when they get quite old. My smart car is from 2003, and now it's already, it's 20 years old. And the problem we are addressing today is related to this to this aging, or whatever you want to call it. So I will disassemble this unit. You have to take these fuses. You have to take these fuses out first in order to be able to take this thing apart. I forgot these screws, otherwise I won't be able to take this thing apart, open it up. So you have to open these noses. Some might break due to aging, because most of them are already crisp, so they are most likely to break, but this is not much of an issue. Next step, you have some noses, some little noses here. You have to push them in order to get the next part out on this side, respectively on the other side. And you push them in, and then you can push the inside out carefully, gently. Now you can take a look on the inside. These units are very often damaged by water or liquid which comes into the car through the window, and along the cables the moisture seeks its way mostly on this part of the PCB, causing some liquid damage and causing some weird faults, like your blinker is constantly blinking, or your fan aren't working, or sometimes really crazy faults occur, like your blinker is only working when your fan is on, and when it's off it's not working anymore. Really crazy issues, most likely related to water damage on this area, and on the other side of the board on this area under these connectors here. So we will, but this is not our issue today. Our issue is the car is turning off randomly. So we have to open up this PCB further. And there are again little noses which are holding this thing in place, and we have to gently push them back in order to get this thing to open up. And you can unfold, crazy design, you can unfold this and you can unfold the other side. One pin just broke off, but as I already said, when they break off, it's not much of a deal. They are quite old and crisp, and they are very likely to break, but there are a lot others which hold this thing in place, so not much of a deal. So there are 2 pins, I can show them here. You have to push them in the opposite direction, and then you can push out this plastic plate which is underneath. So before we are going to take a look at this under the microscope, this can cause very, very crazy faults as well. And it's quite tricky to diagnose this issue if you don't know where you have to look. You also have to take into the equation that this fault of your car shutting down randomly can also be related to some other issues, like the crankshaft sensors, for example, or many other things as well. But this clicking sound is very characteristic for this issue. But if you are at your local repair shop and they don't know about this issue, which very, very few know, then it's very likely that they change a whole lot of parts from your car and you have to spend whole lots of money for these repairs, and the problem still persists. And the problem for this issue you can see here: cracked solder joints. But I have to admit, on this unit they are looking quite good. I have seen many more worse solder joints from other units, but apparently it's enough to cause the problem. And these cracked solder joints are over the whole PCB. It's not only on this part. I will show you from above so you can locate the spot. And this problem is most likely caused by the leaded solder which is used on this PCB, as it's used on many almost every modern device with electronics inside, laptops, everything else is built with unleaded solder. And the difference between unleaded and leaded solder is that the leaded solder is more flexible than the unleaded version. This leads to the problem that if you have devices like this, which are built into a car, and your car is standing outside in the winter or in the summer, there are very big temperature changes. You get into the car, you turn your heating on, you turn your AC on in the summer, and there are very, very big temperature changes which lead to very much movement in the material, and the solder joints have to join this movement, have to bend and tighten again, and over the time these solder joints simply crack under this movement. So leaded solder, in my opinion, would be the better option for this thing, but they have their regulations, they can't use it, so it is not used. This problem is most of the times is caused by these 2 rows right here. They are causing this problem, but if you do the work and remove this thing from your car, you disassemble it, then I would suggest that you take a look at all the other solder joints, and if you see some cracked solder joints, you should renew them to save you some trouble in the future. So now we are going to take a look at these cracked solder joints again. The only thing you really need is a powerful soldering station to reflow or to add some leaded solder to these solder joints. Some flux would be useful as well. And now we'll go over these solder joints and renew them all. You have to make sure that you're doing this in a well ventilated area, because this soldering fume is quite toxic. So you should leave your window open, or you should put something on your workbench which is blowing the smoke away, like a fan or anything else. And this will do pretty much the job. So it's not big of a deal if you have some basic soldering skills, some equipment like a soldering station. The soldering station should be quite powerful, because you have to heat up some large copper pads. I sometimes have to support it by the hot air, but most of the cases it's not big of a deal. So when you have some basic soldering skills, or somebody you know have some basic soldering skills, it's quite easy to do. And otherwise you spend hundreds or thousands of dollars or euros, wherever you live, to fix this issue, and at the end it's still the same. So I hope this will help everyone who's running into this problem, and I'm sorry for my bumpy English, but this is my first video which I'm recording in English. All of my other videos are recorded in German. Maybe YouTube will allow, maybe in the future will allow these videos to have different audio tracks, so I can record in German and in English, but at the moment I have to do a different version of this repair, which I already uploaded on my channel in German. But I thought that this issue is quite common among these cars, and it would be too bad if this issue wouldn't be found out. So I will put this thing back together. So thank you very much for watching my video, and to the next time. Bye.